Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong. Welcome to the back office. Yes, you can see I have a new work area. Look, it's got drawers. Yes, it's a chopping board from my kitchen, and it kind of stinks like garlic. I think when I start using the hot air on it, it's going to start to reek, and it's got all these brown scrapes in it, but let's just see how it goes. You know, I'm trying to replace that bit of old carpet with something, and you know, this is the first stage. If this works out, maybe I'll go out and buy my own chopping board. Although I do like the idea of these drawers, you know, for wiping detritus in, and I can throw these in the bin. It does sit proud, mind, about an inch off the actual desk. Right, so this is a Nightlight. You might have seen them in your local little Aldi's, one of those places. Nightlight model number HG00787ABS, 0.3 watts, made in Germany, it seems. So I'm just going to undo these star torque screws with my flat blade because I really couldn't find the appropriate screwdriver, annoyingly. But that's fine. Now what I wanted to really do is get in one of these because I've always wondered if there's anything useful to not just to learn on how they're actually rectifying the power to the LED, how they're reducing it, but also whether or not we could replace the innards with some of our own fancy kit to create a more interesting sort of Nightlight. So they're going to have an LDR of some description, and then that's going to be controlling the LED, and then the LED, the whole circuit will be getting its power from the mains. I don't think it's going to have a transformer in it. I think it'll just have a big ass resistor and maybe some sort of half wave rectifier. But let's see. Oh, you know, maybe I spoke too soon. Look, there's quite a lot of stuff in here. In fact, I'm really surprised because look, a real fuse, a genuine fuse. I'm going to need myself a Phillips screwdriver because of course they don't need security screws internally. So there's your photo diode, that's your LED there. Capacitor, a couple of diodes there. So it looks like maybe they're doing the rectification, the rectifying using the diodes. Of course, can build your own rectifier with diodes. You don't need to buy a package. Oh, these are cranked on pretty well. Yeah, so that's the mains coming in via the fuse straight to this sort of nice white PCB. It's really hard to see the circuit though, that would take a bit of time to ping that out, but just on the top of my head, just looking here, you've got one of the, which would be, you've got one side coming in and it's going via these two diodes, so that's going to be sort of rectifying the signal, but I can see from the diode on the tracking side they're going to two different places. So one is going off to this resistor here and the other is going off to multiple circuits. So yeah, without tracing it out I really couldn't tell you, but it certainly looks like it's a rectified thing, and if we dare we can actually set up the oscilloscope and have a look later. So yeah, groovy. So in terms of actually trying to work out where you could tap power though, that's the trickier part. You can see there's some transistors here that are clearly doing something to do with the photodiode and the LED, so it comes on at night. So what I would suggest, if you were going to really play with this, and you'd have to be really careful, keep the whole part of it that comes on at night and just do something with the feed to the LED. You know, maybe replace that LED with something else. If you wanted it to be a different color LED, that's a nice easy one. Or if you wanted to actually put in a little tiny bit of circuitry here to, you know, make it flash or something, but you have to be really careful because you're really near this fuse, so take a lot of care. Remember, it is mains, you'd have to really not go anywhere near that. So yeah, that's interesting. Put that back together now before my kids discover it's apart because they really like this. Please feel free to subscribe, and as ever, thanks for watching. I thought while we've got it open, we'll depart from the usual thing of wrapping up the video without actually figuring out what's going on and actually try to have a play with this. Now I do have this unswitched block, so it's kind of dangerous. I really need to be careful when I plug this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just put those couple of screws back in so the main flappy part of this PCB is locked down, because I don't want my fingers anywhere near this. If you're going to be playing with mains at home, I really advise you have one of an on-off switch so you can dash it off as quick as possible when something goes wrong. For me, I know I'm protected by various circuit breakers and RCDs and MCBs, but it's always nice to be able to isolate your mains project. Because I can grab this around the edge, I kind of feel if I need to, I'll be able to actually unplug it pretty safely, but be careful at home, right? Now you'll see I'll have another camera set up, and that's going to have a oscilloscope. I'm going to just pop that on in a moment. So there we go, I'm just plugging that in, so it is in. Not seeing much joy right now. I don't know if that's because there's too much light, but let's get the oscilloscope on and see what we can see. Being very ginger, very ginger. Okay, I'm back. Yes, I had a little mishap. You can see I've got a blown fuse here. Unit's okay, just replaced the fuse. You can see the light coming on. Left the top loose, and what I'm going to do now is, because rather foolishly I neglected to really use my brain and think that the ground reference on oscilloscope is obviously ground to, like, literally mains ground, as in the ground to earth. So don't use this like a voltmeter where you have a floating reference. So if you've got one of these, remove that. You don't want this anywhere near the insides of this right now.